Hi everyone, welcome back to the series, the video series. I have it in IFRS. Today in this video, I am going to discuss the step 4 in SLFRS 15 or IFRS 15, which is the allocation of transaction price. In my previous videos, I had discussed how to determine a transaction price and what are the factors that has to be considered in determining the transaction price. So today we are going to discuss how we are going to allocate the transaction price for the various performance obligations in the contract. So you should remember that allocation of transaction price does not apply if the contract has only one performance obligation. But however, there can be one performance obligation of supplying goods and services at a series, the same goods and services at a series and at different point of time. That means a cleaning service, for example. A cleaning service every week or every month you provide. So that is, though it is considered as one variable, one performance obligation, it happens at different point in time. At that time, if there is anything variable, then you have to allocate to that particular transaction. That's all you have to keep it in mind when you are determining the allocation of transaction price for one performance obligation. Other than that, the transactions, when they have several performance obligations, several products, goods and services, supplies, then you have to allocate for each performance obligation. In doing so, this has to happen at the inception of the contract. Because as and when the performance obligations get satisfied, you are going to recognize the revenue as per the allocation in your books. That's what it's important, that you have to do it at the inception. There can be subsequent changes. You can reallocate it depending on the changes. But you have to allocate the transaction price at the inception. So the standard says that when you are allocating the transaction price, it should satisfy the objective of the IFRS 15 or SLFRS 15 stated in para 1573. I'll read that out in a small brief form. The objective what they state is, to each performance obligation when you are allocating the transaction price, it has to be the consideration the entity expects to be entitled for the transaction. That is for the transfer of each performance obligation to the customer. So your transaction price should be matching with the consideration that the entity is expecting to be entitled for the satisfaction of the performance obligation. There are two exceptions for the allocation of transaction price. Before that, how you are going to allocate the transaction price? The standard says based on the relative standard on selling prices of each performance obligation. That is their requirement. But there is an exception, because you can allocate the transaction price to all the performance obligation in case if there is a discount or a variable consideration which is specifically for one performance obligation or one more than one performance obligation, but not for all the performance obligation. You are not allocating the transaction price due to discount or variable consideration to all your performance obligations. Maybe one or two you might have to. So for that, you have to be prepared how the standard is instructing you to allocate the transaction price. But when you are allocating the transaction price, the standard requires you to allocate it based on the relative standalone selling prices. Suppose for some reason you are unable to find out the relative standard on selling prices. For that also the standard gives you a resolution. Then you can estimate it. You can estimate it maximizing your observable inputs with the 3 methods which has been prescribed in the standard as per the para 1579. There are 3 methods that they have given. One is a market assessment approach. Other one is a expected cost plus margin approach. Then there is a residual approach. What is this residual approach? You can understand market assessment approach. You assess the market for the similar products with the similar customers. What is the standalone selling prices with the observable input? Cost, expected cost plus margin also you will know what it is. You plan out or forecast your cost plus a margin, and then you can arrive at a standalone selling price. Residual approach means you get the transaction price and deduct the standalone selling prices of the other performance obligation other than the performance obligation which you are unable to ascertain a relative standalone selling price and balance it. That's the residual. So even though when you are doing this residual approach, all 3 approach, you have to be very careful that you are satisfying the objective. It has to be consistent and it has to satisfy the objective. That is the main rule of the IFRS 15, that you have to be careful. So the other point is you have to maximize the observable inputs. That is whatever you can observe from the market. Even your competitor's price is acceptable. You can take the competitor price and make some adjustment, entity specific adjustment for your cost and profit margins, that you can do it. So the exceptions allocating the discount and allocating variable consideration are covered by 3 different paras. Allocating the discounts to one or more performance obligation but not to all the performance obligation covered by 1582. That says you have to meet 2 criteria. That says that these goods and services should be sold in the market at the same price separately with the same type of discount, and this discount should match your transaction price discount. How do you ascertain the transaction price discount is when you are having product, for example, we will say product A, product B, product C. There are 3 products. One is, we will say $40. Other one is $50. Other one is $60. These are the standalone selling prices. So the total of the standalone selling prices is 150. But your contract says all 3 products you are going to sell to a a customer at $100. Then the discount is 50. If the total of the standalone selling prices of the products and services what you are going to supply to the customer is more than the contract amount, then there is a discount. Then the customer says, okay, I am going to sell this to 60. These 2 products, B and C, as a package, he is going to sell at 60. So you see, the discount is for only these 2 products because this transaction price 100 is divided as 60 and 40. 60 is for product B and C, 40 is for product A, The 40 is reflecting the standalone selling price of product A. Only product B and C is giving it at a discount. So this discount can be allocated based on the relative standalone selling prices to these two products only. This is how the discount allocation works. The same thing with the variable consideration as well. For example, for one performance obligation or one product, you get a performance bonus based on sales-based royalties, 2% of the sales. So you estimate what will be the 2% of the sales and allocate the transaction price accordingly. So these are the allocation techniques. And you should remember that when you are allocating the discount, you have to allocate it first before doing any residual approach method to ascertain the standalone selling price. That's what the standard says. So I have briefed you with the allocation. The allocation of transaction price, and I will give you detailed workings and examples in my subsequent lectures. Thank you.